essentially after a period.
Joining us live now, EFTM editor, our tech expert, Trevor Long. Trevor, good morning to you. So break it down for us. How's that actually going to work in practice?
It is remarkable technology. Good morning, Pete. Basically, this little implant has hundreds of small electrodes going into the brain. It's actually as much about the implant process as it is about the actual implant itself. And that little implant then sits on the outside of the skull, is wirelessly charged, but also wirelessly can communicate. So they've been testing this on animals and they've been able to essentially read the brain waves. And so essentially after a period of training, you'll be able to essentially teach the computer that's listening what a right movement is, what a left movement is, and potentially move a mouse on a screen. As simple as that, or much more complex.
So it's very Elon Musk, isn't it? But there is a complication here to Elon's previous projects because the subject is human. So you mentioned there testing on animals. What are the other hoops that he needs to jump through, or his company, for this to become a real possibility?
I'm Elon Musk's biggest critic, I've got no doubt, but I see the potential here, and I think as long as it's done correctly, this could be huge. Now, let's think about autopilot in cars. Not a big fan of cars driving around autonomously without regulation. These human trials are regulated by the FDA in the United States. Now, as long as that is closely monitored, this has the potential to, over many years, because this won't be a very quick process, over many years, create control, communication for people who suffer quadriplegia and other things.
Yeah.
But if Elon Musk isn't careful, it could go wrong, because if he makes statements publicly about this that are essentially incorrect, he's made statements previously about the effects of these trials on animals, and there have been some negative effects. We need to be honest about these trials. They need to be open about side effects and the problems they occur, because they will. Human trials of a technology like this will always have issues, and that's the early stages of these things. This is the first of potentially many human implants.
So what's the time frame that they're working towards here?
Look, it's about a 5 to 6 year trial, the current one they're in, but just in terms of how quickly this has come along, the company was only founded in 2017, really started its work in 1819. In 2020 and 2022, they did do a video demonstration of a monkey that was controlling a joystick to essentially get a treat, and then they disconnected the joystick once the chip was implanted, and the same thing was occurring. So it is just mind-blowing to see what can be done in a short space of time. They will be looking for baby steps here. Can this person do simple tasks? And then what they do next is up to them.
Well, okay, so we'll just wrap here. But say this all goes well. You know, you mentioned earlier you might be able to move a mouse on a keypad or something like that. What are the things that people might be able to do if this is successful?
I think the best example is the one Elon gave, Stephen Hawking. We're all familiar with Stephen Hawking in a wheelchair communicating with a computer. The ability to think about what you want to control and say potentially could bring communication and potentially some movement control back, not a physical movement of the limbs, but potentially movement of the wheelchair and things like that. So
wow,
the possibilities are endless once you tap into the human brain.
Amazing. Trevor, good to see you as always.